Hello, beautiful people. I'm Chris Maddox, founder of the Wild Woman Project and Wild Woman Fest. And I'm speaking to you today because we always meet like this at new moon time, and the new moon has arrived. January 24th brings us the very first new moon of 2020 and of a decade. And it begins a moon cycle which will carry us all the way through February 22nd. So in this time between the 24th of January and February 22nd, we have an opportunity to approach this like any other measured time period we could think of, which is this time period is a treasure trove of experience. And this time period offers us the most precious thing that there is, which is life. So we have the opportunity, if we engage with life as it comes, day by day, week by week, moon cycle by moon cycle. Life has this amazing way of growing us, of helping us experience by experience to, become a little bit better versions of ourselves, to refine our behavior, to think about how we're thinking about things, to sense how we're feeling about things. And through all of that, we get the amazing experience of growing just like everything else in the natural world grows. So this particular new moon is a really exciting one to get us started in this new year and this new decade, because it falls in the sign, the astrological sign of Aquarius. So that archetype is related to the element of air. The element of air. So that element in the natural world that represents really what we cannot really hold, and it's associated with our communication, with our thinking, with our language. And our language really is the kind of bridge between us. Our ability to communicate with one another is kind of communicate with each other in such a specific and nuanced way, really kind of sets us apart from the rest of, from other species. So this Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius, is the final of the air signs. So you can think of this kind of like air to the highest octave or to the highest degree, to its most mature phase. So I think Aquarius in so many ways brings us in touch with our higher ways of thinking about things. Our higher ways of thinking about things, so that we're able to kind of maybe zoom back a little bit from our own personal experience and kind of think of like a bird's eye view or a moon's eye view of the world and see things from farther back. Aquarius has the unique gift to really be able to see sort of like structural societal dynamics and things like that. So it's often associated with the revolutionary, with rebellion. And I've said this many times before, you've probably heard me say it, but I actually think Aquarius is the astrological choices most in alignment with the Wild Woman archetype. I think this is an opportunity, this new moon, as we're, with this Aquarius energy, that we tap into that wild woman. And I say this because there's something about Aquarius and the Wild Woman archetype, which is deeply rebellious. And it's not rebellious just to be reactive to what is. It's rebellious because, for example, in this Wild Woman Project movement, which I think is part of a larger movement that's basically saying to the spiritual and religious traditions that have been the only options available to people, it's really saying, actually, we believe in a structure which is circular, not hierarchical. We actually believe that each and every person is part of nature. We actually believe that above any human written story or human channeled story, even if you want to go that so far as to say that, even more profound, even more enlightening, even more of a teacher and a guide is nature itself. So it's sort of like this radical position. I hope in 100 years it won't be. And I think that it's changing. There are a ton of people who identify as spiritual but not religious. And the wild woman archetype is part of that. The wild woman says, you don't need anybody to tell you how it is. Go put your feet on the earth and remember who you are and what you're made of. Remember that you have a creative intelligence which is moving through you. It's animating your entire existence, your choices, what you make, how you love. Just like there's a creative intelligence moving through the natural world, the oak tree going from seed to mighty tree. So there is a kind of rebellion inherent when somebody, anybody, takes a view that's outside of the norm or outside of the majority. And when that happens, that person can be sort of ostracized. And in so many ways, wild women have been historically punished for that worldview. And actually, not just oppressed, violently killed. So we are lucky enough to be living in a time where the women and people who have come before us have paved the way so that I could sit here in this video and say, you don't need a priest, you don't need a pastor, you don't need anybody at the front of the room telling you how it is, but all you need is a sincerity in your heart and your own breath to guide you. Isn't that cool? We're evolving, right? So we're lucky and we're blessed and we're in a process. There's still a lot of religious bigotry and putting down and shaming and a lot of conflict that's based in not having compassion, not having tolerance, not having acceptance of people thinking other ways. The Wild Woman Project and I think the emergence of the Wild Woman archetype in our collective has to do with coming back to something really fundamental, which is you can maintain your inner authority. Nobody is the boss of you. You are the boss of you. This is a pretty radical idea, So, and it's radical. It's so funny, but to me, I'm just like, it's all so obvious. So anyway, we're working on it, right? So this moon cycle here at the Wild Woman Project, we are going to have a big focus on music. Our theme of the cycle is songs of rebellion. And we're going to have this joint focus on this kind of rebel streak that the Wild Woman archetype has. And this exploration of the power of music to bring people together, to heal, to soothe, to uplift. That song has always been a part of revolution and change. If you look back at the civil rights movement, you'll hear in the crowds, if you ever hear any recordings, you'll hear songs from gospel songs to folk songs. This is what helped to keep people buoyant and connected and to do that beautiful thing that the air does, that invisible magic where it says, you're standing over there, I don't know you, you're a stranger. I'm standing over here, you don't know me, I'm a stranger. Boy, can we sing together. Boy, can simultaneously our hearts be moved. And all of a sudden, we're connected almost like family through a song, the universal language. So we are going to be exploring the power of song to do that special magic. that everyday mundane magic. So you are encouraged this cycle to explore music, and we're going to help you do that on our social media posts and really big time on our newsletter. So if you haven't already signed up for Wild Woman Weekly-ish, you can do that on our homepage at thewildwomanproject.com. And if you want to explore this with like in a sort of in-person experience, go to one of our many Wild Woman Project circles, which are happening all over the globe. Expect meditation and sharing and intention setting ritual. And this time it's special focus on music. And if you're available, I'd love to invite you to join me for Wild Woman School. So it's me and the Wild Woman Project community, and it happens on February 10th. You can join online from anywhere, and it's a really profound space that we create together. And the orientation of Wild Woman School is not me telling you how it is, but it's really just like me asking questions. So to help you to explore what is true for you, what is coming up for you, and to help you realign. And the whole idea is that we're all tuning our inner compass when we meet like that. So I hope you'll consider joining me. All of the links for everything I just said are below this video. And last but not least, if the idea of holding a women's circle in your local community jazzes you up, makes you curious, I encourage you to look into circle leader training. Our spring session is coming up. It begins in April. So take a look. Registration isn't open yet, but you can explore what the material is. You can hear from women who have been through the process. And if it stirs your heart and your soul, I hope you'll consider joining us. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm wishing you a beautiful, rebellious moon cycle ahead.